Hello Internet, and welcome to the Greg Troyan YouTube channel, and welcome to Greg's weekly Final Fantasy XIV vlogs, where each week we discuss what I accomplished in Final Fantasy XIV this week and what my thoughts on my journey are. So, this week there was actually not much of Final Fantasy XIV playing that happened. Found another character quest and another Eden that I unlocked, so I did that, and it was okay. It was not a very... It was really the beginning of a 3-part quest line, but because I haven't unlocked the character, it's really hard to judge. But they do that sometimes where they'll give you the first quest of a character to make you want to draw them in the gacha pools, but it was alright. And I also am a massive Frozen fan, and so the Frozen West End film production dropped on Disney Plus over the weekend, and so I watched that, and I'm not the biggest on the Frozen Broadway musical. I think a lot of the changes kind of hurt the material. They really do Anna dirty in the musical version. They give Elsa a lot more to work with, and they make Elsa a lot stronger, but pretty much every other character takes a significant step down in the musical version, except maybe Oaken, I guess. So Oaken and Elsa, if you're Oka and Elsa stands, the musical version's got a lot for you. And, some of the stage production is really cool, but they really... because I've seen the Broadway version, and now I've seen the West End version, and they really did Anna and Hans dirty in the West End version. I think they're talented actors, but I don't think the interpretations of the characters really worked. And I don't think the transition from trolls to mountain people worked very well either. Some really good new songs. I Can't Lose You is a good song, but it doesn't hit as emotionally as the first time in Forever Reprise. So anyway, enough Frozen talk for now. But anyway, so I was finally ready and decided to play some 14 Monday morning, but then my internet was out, and so I could not play any Final Fantasy 14. In terms of my internet ended up being out for basically 2.5 days. So I had no time. Well, 2 days. 2 days, yeah, we'll call it 2 days. So internet was out for 2 days, so I had to take off work while trying to deal with the internet company, and later the power company. What ended up happening was our electric was not grounded, and so we got to the point where there was a lot of power fluctuations in the house, and fans on low settings would spin faster than on their highest settings, and it was pretty crazy. And we had a giant power surge. A bunch of surge protectors blew out and started smelling like smoke. And so called the power company, yeah, your electrical just isn't grounded. And I'm oh, that's not safe. I prefer not to die. So they took care of that, but I just didn't have internet, so I just couldn't play 14 at all during those days. And I ended up reading a book. I got a book over the weekend, the last Frozen novel I haven't read, Fixer Upper. And I was reading it while the power was out, and then I was almost done with it. So I'm I could play more 14, but I'm almost done with this book. And anyone who knows me knows that if I start a book, I just want to finish it. So I finished the book, and I also read the Tales from the Calamity little novella on the Lodestone website. So I want to thank Wind Clink and Tom Lazen from Tom Lazen's server, for anyone who saw that giant I ranked every Final Fantasy video that everyone's been seeing lately. I've been hanging out on their Discord server for a while, and they pointed out that these novellas exist. I knew about them, but I had forgotten them, so it was good that they reminded me. I told them I'd give them credit in this video. So I read those this week, because you could read those on your phone without internet. And so I was oh man, is this going to be all the 14 I get this week, is just reading these novellas, which they were pretty good. I'm looking forward to reading the rest of them in between the expansions. It was definitely solid. But I actually did get to play some 14 this week. I got to play more Palace of the Dead. So I got a bunch of Palace of the Dead tips on Reddit, on different message boards, and from a YouTuber streamer I became friends with, FFXIV. She commented on my 11 video a while back and just left a really nice comment. And then she commented on one of my Palace of the Dead videos, and then I went and found her channel and found a lot of really great content. And we've been chatting back and forth about Palace of the Dead, and she is actually doing a Palace of the Dead series right now, which is going to wrap up, I believe, on Sunday. So make sure you check out FFXIV's channel and subscribe. And that is the conclusion of their series, to see whether or not the Palace of the Dead trek that they're doing is going to end up in a as a comedy or a tragedy, and that is actually appropriate to discuss this week, because we have been stuck on floors 11 through 10 for what, like 2 or 3 weeks now? And, we were discussing this week whether or not this would be a comedy or a tragedy, as Absolute Essie said in her video, because we've been trying to brute force it. And one of the, and so Absolute Essie gave me some really good tips. And those were the tips I conveyed to my buddy of mine, where I said, there are 3 ways we can approach this. 1, we can continue what we're doing and just try to brute force it and see if we can just beat the mechanics of that boss by just getting good, son. Number 2 was to replay floors 1 through 10 on a separate save file and buff up our ether pool gear in hopes of then being able to beat the boss with just stronger geared characters. And then number 3 was to just find someone who had already demolished Palace of the Dead and have them carry us through floors 1 through 50 with their high-end ether pool gear. So those were our 3 options, and my buddy decided, you know what, let's brute force it. I think we can do it. And I'm like, all right, we talked about the mechanics, we felt confident, we're like, all right, let's jump in, let's do this. And so we were making our way through Palace of the Dead. We only had time for 1 run because we started late, and so we're going through Palace of the Dead, and we're doing pretty well. We're actually getting a decent number of ether pool drops. We're communicating well. There was one point where I triggered a trap where all the enemies started aggroing me. It's one of those traps, I'm blanking on the name of it now, where it makes a bunch of enemies flock to you, and I got knocked out, and my buddy was in low health, but he got away while they aggroed me, was able to defeat them, and then use the Cairn of returning to revive me. And I'm like, oh, sweet, I got knocked out, but we're still doing good. And so then we went to go fight the boss, and I forgot to add our buffs, which I didn't realize till in retrospect, oh shoot, I forgot to add the buffs, the steals or the strengths. I did not add those. But I saw this I saw a number of people suggesting you save your lust, you save that for the boss battle. And so I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to try. I saved them for the boss, but I'm going to try it. And so I tried using the lust transformation, and it did not go well. I just was taking a bunch of damage and not dealing much damage. And so I'm like, oh shoot, did I completely mess up this run? But eventually, the transformation wore off and I started healing myself. It looked like we were maybe going to make a comeback, but it did not. Jobin, he was doing a good job defending against the bees, but it was a failure. We did not succeed. It was too much. We failed. So if I had not done the lust and if I had remembered the buffs, we probably would have gotten it this run, but we didn't, and it was another miserable failure, another tragedy in Palace of the Dead. And on top of all that, I'm sure you've noticed as you were looking at this footage, this doesn't quite match up with what he said. The footage got corrupted. So I lost the footage of the entire run, and not even capturing the footage was successful. So this is just footage from a previous run. So just all of it was a failure all around, a complete tragedy. And so I asked my buddy, so what's the plan for next week? And Summoner Joven was like, brute force. We're gonna try it one more time. So we're gonna try brute forcing it one more time next week to see if we can get through. And if that works, then we'll finally be on floor 21. And if not, then we're gonna reconsider our strategy for Palace moving forward. So that is the tragedy of this week. Spoilers, it was a tragedy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stick around next week for more 14 vlogs to see whether or not I get past this part in Palace of the Dead, and whether or not I do anything else in 14 next week. All right, you guys have a good one, guys and gals and everything in between, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, everyone.